Well, the round robin again today. We had a game that was a snooze, and then we had a game that wasn't, but you'd have to be a little bit frustrated as a Blues fan right now, I would think. And there are definitely, it would seem there are players and perhaps rosters that are going, it doesn't really matter. And I've seen that argument online, to which I answer that the seedings matter. We're looking at some major upsets potentially happening during the play-in round. The difference between who you might face if you're a top seed and who you might face if you're, say, seed number 4 is sizable. In the East, it could be the difference between playing the Carolina Hurricanes or the Montreal Canadiens. And if people want to say, well, Montreal with Carey Price, they could steal the next round. All right, touche, that's fine. But I think there's an expectation by certain players that they're just going to turn it on, and I don't know if I can get behind that. So Washington, Philly, Raffle out, Farabee in, and I thought Joel Farabee played really well. Ghost still out. So Vigneault's saying, I like the top 6 I had in the last game. No reason to have a change. And no Carlson for the Washington Capitals either. And that does make a difference today. We can't undersell how much of a difference that can make in the game. So the Flyers, if they win, they clinch second or better in the East. They were playing well enough going into the break to earn that as well. Ovechkin throwing hits right out of the gate, but there wasn't a whole lot else being thrown by the Caps, let's be honest. Kempny, however, would take a penalty, and the Flyers go to the power play. Tom Wilson then says, well, I'll go to the box. He takes one, so that's the second power play for the Flyers already. And the power plays don't really matter other than it's hard to get flow. It's hard to get flow when you got guys in the box and you're killing penalties, or you're on the penalty kill and power play and all that. Holtby was tested plenty as the penalty kills were adding up. Couturier then drilled Hathaway. Garnet Hathaway's normally handing out those kinds of injuries. In this case, he was on the receiving end. And then over halfway through, Lawton scores from Konechny and Hayes at 13 minutes and 3 seconds, and it was Gudas who had a turnover behind the net that led to the goal. I did not think Radko Gudas had a great game today for Washington. Going to come right out and say that. I'm just going to say straight out. Voracek then gets a penalty. The Caps go to the power play. Elliott, I thought, was pretty good when he was tested. I did. I thought Elliott played pretty well, even though he wasn't tested a lot today. And that's part of the issue. If you're a Caps fan today, you just didn't see the testing of the other team's goaltender very often. Late power play for the Caps. Kuznetsov would leave. Kuznetsov would come back. So it doesn't turn out to be anything major. He comes back, but it's 1-0 for the Flyers after the first. Second period. Slow start. Shots were 2-0 for Washington at the 5-minute mark. And this is where I have to say this was the slowest of all of the games that I've watched so far since the return. And I might be including exhibition games in that. It was slow. Caps penalty, Flyers to the power play. Kuznetsov then gets a penalty. Flyers back to the power play. And Caps had no shots 9 minutes in. Now, part of that is that they're killing penalties. The other part is just the effort wasn't there so much. Konechny takes a penalty. It's 4-on-4. And then Kempny takes an interference call. It's just a parade at that stage. Sanheim would score from Hayton's in Arizona. Hayes and Lawton, which if I put them together, they become Hayton. They combined at 11:30, so I guess them together, they become Hayton. It's not a Voltron thing. You can't combine Flyers. Although you would think that line of Konechny, Hayes, and Lawton was basically a Voltron when they were out there together. So at 11:30, it becomes a 2-0 game for the Flyers. The Caps take a penalty again. Aubé-Kubel almost had one. Late push by the Capitals. Elliott made some saves again. Didn't get tested a lot. Holtby denied Lawton with a minute and a half left. The shot totals were low, but the penalty totals were high. Going through 2 periods, each team had 13 shots. Third period. Farabee was denied by Holtby. You could tell the Flyers want number 1. The Flyers want to be the top seed. It's going to be really fun to watch them and Tampa, the two teams that have tried really hard as we go in to decide who the number 1 seed is and might end up playing Montreal. I don't know which one I want to see more, Tampa or Philly. I'm kind of leaning towards Philly because of just how ugly those series sometimes get, but either way, it's going to be a lot of fun. Gudis, his turnovers were definitely hurting the Capitals. Capitals did get some pressure at 7 minutes. Then it goes the other way. Lawton scores from Hayes and Konechny at 8:37. And I put up here Flyers #1 in the power rankings just to remind people, hey, this is how the Flyers were playing going in. I am giving them total credit for playing just as well coming out of the pause as they were going in. Boyd would score from Hagelin and Gudis at 8:49, so 12 seconds later. And that was the first shot by the Capitals in the third period. Their first shot at 8:49. Now, noteworthy as well is that Boyd is in for Eller. Eller is, of course, outside the bubble to be with his wife as they have their second child. Sanheim then takes a penalty. Caps get a power play. Elliott denies Vrana. Holtby at the other end robbed Aubé-Kubel, would not allow Aubé-Kubel to get on the score sheet at all today. The Washington Capitals would pull their goaltender late, but the Flyers held. The shots were 8-6 for Philly in the first, 7-5 Washington in the second, and 8-4 in favor of the Flyers in the third. Final shots 21-17. Yep, that's what happened. Hits were 42-23 for Washington. There were way more hits than there were shots. Power plays 0-4 for Washington, 0-6 for Philadelphia. 3 stars were Hayes, Lawton, and Elliott gets the third star. I would have gone with Konechny, maybe even Sanheim. That was a nice goal by Sanheim, but that's fine. Elliott with 16 saves on 17 shots. Sure. And I'm not going to put this on Holtby because his team only got 17 shots in this game. 17 shots. That's it. But St. Louis says, 17 shots. We can do exactly that. And the weird thing with this game is that St. Louis started out fast. Perron gets a goal from Sanford and O'Reilly. That was their first shot. So if you're wondering why that's the first note, that was their first shot. And Vegas had 1 shot. And I was watching this game and remembering this and going, oh God, it's happening again. I'm going to get another game of hardly any shots. And when you compare this with the really rough and tumble Vancouver-Minnesota game and what we're seeing with Columbus and Toronto now, there's no comparison. There's no comparison in the intensity, and I get it. But how these teams are just going to turn it on when they're playing at, say, 3/4 speed and these other teams are playing at full speed, that's going to be a challenge. I think we're going to potentially see a lot of upsets in the first round. I do, because technically we're not in the first round yet. So Schmidt blamed himself for that goal. I don't know if I agree with him, but I do salute a defenseman who has that kind of pride. Shots were 2-1 for the Blues at 7 minutes. Yep, 3 shots in 7 minutes. That's some New Jersey Devils 1995 level hockey. Vegas gets a power play in the second half. A solid penalty kill for the Blues. Vegas hits a post. Bortuzzo saved it, but he put his hand on the puck and pushed it out of the crease. That's a penalty shot, boys and girls. That's supposed to be a penalty shot. So if you're a Vegas fan going, that doesn't seem like that should have happened, you're right. That was supposed to be a penalty shot, and the refs blew that one. So, that being said, things get scrappy with 4 minutes left. There's some 4-on-4 play late. Vegas is buzzing, but Bennington played pretty darn well at that stage in the game. Tuck had a wraparound attempt that was stopped, but Alex Tuck would not be stopped for long. I told you before this whole thing started, watch for Tuck. Second period with the Blues still with a 1-0 lead. Bennington, I thought, needed some goal support because they've got outshot badly in that first period. And then there's the goal support. Parayko from Shen at 1:45. That's their first shot of the second period. And it goes in. So I see that and I think, you know what? Marc-Andre Fleury doesn't have it today. If the Blues can get some prolonged pressure and can get some shots, they could maybe run up the score a little bit on Fleury. Because Fleury just seems a little bit dull in net. I mean, not sharp, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? He just seemed a little off. But the Blues, they were too nice about it. Vegas had twice as many shots at the Blues at that stage. The Blues play definitely picked up after that goal. Steen then takes a penalty. Vegas goes to the power play. Theodore scores a goal, which was challenged unsuccessfully. So it counts from Stone at 6:50. And that puts Vegas right back on the power play. Marchessault then takes a penalty of his own, so it's 4-on-4 for 25 seconds. During the Blues power play, William Karlsson gets the best chance on the penalty kill, as Karlsson, again, not the guy you want to be handing the puck to when they're killing penalties. He's pretty darn good. Tuck would then score at 10:47 from Holden and Marchessault. Nice tap in because the Blues didn't cover him. Not sure who was responsible for Tuck, but they didn't cover him, and Tuck makes it look easy. All the momentum for Vegas. Sanford takes a penalty, and it seemed like the Blues were going to kill this off. Like, this is a good, strong penalty kill. And nope. Tuck scores his second of the period from Smith and Cousins at 13 minutes and 13 seconds again. That's their second power play marker of the second period. And I right away put up here, Blues may battle Stars for number 3 spot, because I thought this game could be done. However, Parayko scores from O'Reilly and Sanford at 14:06, so Parayko having a pretty good game. And then 22 seconds later, Brouwer scores from Bozak. So between 10:47 and 14:28, we get 4 goals, and it already eclipses whatever was going on over here. This is way more interesting than what was going on over here. Momentum swings both ways, really big momentum swings, and you end up with 6 goals in that second period. So third period, Whitecloud scores from Roy and Tuck at 2 minutes and 1 second. So Tuck adds an assist to the 2 goals he has in the game. And then there's a too many men call on the Blues, which had Berube saying, where? What's happening? And they had seven guys on the ice. So, yeah. So power play for Vegas. Post for Vegas. Blues were definitely guilty of holding on a little bit. Stastny then gets a trip. Blues go to their second power play. But the best chance was for Riley Smith shorthanded. So again, Blues power play, and Vegas gets that big shorthanded chance. Stone scores from McNabb and Stevenson at 12:31 to put Vegas into the lead. And then it's Theodore, a little over 2 minutes later, unassisted at 14:49. So that makes it 6-4 in favor of Vegas. And the Blues, at 14:49 of the third period, had no shots. 0. So Vegas came out and played very, very well defensively. I'm not cutting Vegas down. But when you don't have shots almost 15 minutes into a period, I do question the level of effort. And with the Blues, I have some tremendous concerns about the level of effort throughout this game. I cannot wait to see Washington against Boston and St. Louis against Dallas. Matchups between 4 teams that don't seem to really care about the seeding at all. And both of them go scoreless to shootouts, and the shootouts, all the shots will just go wide. Goalies will be like, why didn't you put that in? I wasn't even trying to stop it. I don't care. We don't care about seedings. We don't care more. So, all kidding aside, Carrier then gets a slash. The Blues go to a power play. Doesn't matter. They pull the goalie in the last minute. Doesn't matter. They only managed 4 shots in the third period. Vegas wins 6-4. Another comeback victory. That's 2 now. First over Dallas, now over St. Louis. They will play against Colorado to decide first place in the West, as Philadelphia will fight against Tampa Bay for first place. And as poorly as Washington and Boston have come out, as poorly as St. Louis and Dallas have come out, the teams that have been winning the games in each conference look pretty solid. So, shots were 13-5 Vegas in the first, 14-8 Vegas in the second, 11-4 Vegas in the third, final shots 38-17. So it's easy to look at this score and say, well, I guess Binnington didn't have a good game, and he wasn't great. But 4 goals on 17 shots tells you if St. Louis had just put more pucks on the net, they probably would have won this game. But 17 shots, they let Fleury off the hook after what was, by his standards, a poor game. Hits were 30-28 for Vegas because Carrier and Reeves can get 30 hits each per game. And then power plays, Vegas was 2 for 5. St. Louis was 0 for 7. Your 3 stars, Tuck, Theodore, and Parayko. So there you go. We have the round robin almost figured out. The rest of the games go on Saturday and Sunday. And, of course, it's set up that way just in case all of the play-in rounds were all done before Saturday and Sunday, so that we have hockey on Saturday and Sunday. We now know the play-in rounds will not all be done before then. But, hey, let me know your thoughts regarding the round-robin games, and do they matter at all? Does it matter at all if St. Louis ends up, say, losing to Dallas and they go in against Vancouver? Is that any worse for St. Louis than, say, the first-place team going up against a Chicago Blackhawks, for instance. So that's where we're at. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And yes, I do think that if you play the Carolina Hurricanes, it's probably going to be a tougher time for you than Montreal. Not as an insult to Montreal, but because I think Carolina is on a mission. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.